What's up guys, welcome back to another review. Today we are going to be checking out the Samyang AF 24-70mm f2.8 lens for Sony E Mount cameras. Now I'm shooting on it right now. I'm shooting on an A7 III with that lens, so you can get an idea of what this looks like from the get-go. So all of this is going to be sample footage using that lens, but I've taken it out and about. I've used it indoors, outdoors, all over the place, using kind of the open aperture, using a much more closed down aperture, seeing what it's like, sharpness, color, all that kind of stuff. Now, it's no secret that 24-70mm, that's one of my favorite focal ranges. That's one of the lenses that I use all the time, and I'm sure I'm not alone. It's such a versatile focal range for you to capture all kinds of stuff. And f2.8, of course, also means you can get some really nice shallow depth of field. In fact, you could definitely use this not just for kind of all-round landscape, street, whatever you like, but absolutely for portraits and things like that as well. And that's absolutely the case here. But what's interesting about this lens, especially in this ecosystem, is it's coming in at a very reasonable price compared to a lot of the other options with that kind of aperture in this ecosystem. So it makes it very interesting for anyone looking to maybe upgrade from a kit lens, maybe get one kind of all-rounder. I know that's certainly what I did when I actually bought my A7 III. I wanted to get a 24-70 because it just ticks so many boxes, whether you're a photographer or videographer. And this lens obviously ticks another box, being quite reasonably priced. Of course, you can check it out in the link down in the description as well. But let's get into actually what is this lens like? How does it perform? Let's start off by talking about kind of the optics, the image quality. So like I say, I took this out and about. No matter when I was shooting, I was getting really nice sharp results. So out and about, really good sharpness, obviously in the center, but out towards the edges as well. Obviously it's never gonna be quite as sharp out to the edges, but it looks really, really good. I'm really happy with the contrast, with the colors, all that kind of stuff. Now, like I say, I was shooting with an A7 III with this lens, and things like the autofocus were actually really, really good. It was able to keep up with things like eye autofocus, and something which did not surprise me, but something that I was happy to see or hear was how quiet the autofocus was. So if you're using this in a run and gun videography kind of style, you've got a shotgun mic on top of the camera, you're not gonna have to worry about noisy autofocus. That was really nice and quiet. Now the close focusing distance here is 35 centimeters, so you can get in really quite tight to your subject. And like I mentioned before, you could absolutely use a lens like this for portraits as well as kind of other all-rounder stuff. So portraits here, you're getting that nice outer focus bokeh in the background, which I think looks really nice here on this lens. And because it's a 35 centimeter close focusing distance, you can get in pretty close to your subject as well. Now the lens itself, it's not the lightest lens I've ever used, but you can really feel the premium quality as soon as you pick it up. And pairing it with something like the A7 III was pretty much ideal. You know, that wasn't particularly front heavy. It was nicely sort of balanced on there and it felt good in the hands. Now the lens itself is pretty sleek. It's pretty nicely designed. It looks good to actually look at, but more importantly, it handles really well. Obviously you've got the zoom ring on there, which is very nicely weighted. I have to say that was something I noticed. And then you've got the second ring on there, which of course is generally gonna be a focus ring, but you have got a switch on here to switch between mode 1 and mode 2 to change this from a focus ring to an aperture ring. So there's a couple of different ways that you can actually control the lens, either from the lens or from the camera, which is always a plus, I think. It's always nice to be able to have it set up exactly the way you want it to be set up. Otherwise, of course, this is weather and dust resistant, which is always handy. But whether you're a photographer, a videographer, or a hybrid shooter, shooting both types like myself, you're gonna find that this lens is extremely useful for all kinds of different kind of applications. You know, using it right now for talking headshots, but then being able to go out and shoot landscape, shooting portraits, using the animal eye autofocus with the A7 III to shoot portraits of my dog was absolutely no problem. I was able to get nice out of focus areas in the background. You could take this out for street photography, for food photography at home, product photography. There are so many ways to use a 24-70, and it's so nice to have a really nice lens like this with that fast f2.8 aperture as well. Now, if you want to check the lens out for yourself, of course, check out the link down in the description. I think it's fair to say I'm a big fan, but of course, I'd love to hear what you think. So pop all your thoughts, any questions as well down in the comments. Until, of course, next time, don't forget to like and subscribe because there's new content coming all the time. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, as always, thanks for watching.